And welcome back, students. Today we're going to do our last little bit on CSS. We're going to focus on CSS that primarily affects tables, but you can really, in effect, apply it to any other element. So what I'm going to do, just to make this a little clear for the purpose of our demonstration here, I'm going to simply just take this background, change it back to color, just so we can see things a little bit better. And let's make it back to Alice Blue. And of course, now this is overwritten with the internal style sheet. So here I am with my background color, and I'm going to look at this table here. Now, if you remember before, we set the table to have like a width of like 50%. So what I want to do is kind of come in and manipulate some of these different properties on these tables here. So here's this default table that I had that was just blank, and I want to manipulate this table here. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and say //CSS for table. And let's go ahead and add in some CSS for a table. So when we start looking at CSS for tables, right, remember their big thing with tables is that you have to stylize the individual elements accordingly. So like, for example, we have to do table, th, td, just like we did before. And we can come and do things like border, and we can set that to be 1 pixel, and then I can choose the color. I want to say it's solid, and I can make it, let's say, red. Okay. Now, when we look at this piece right here, you can change these. So, for example, if I don't want this to be solid, I can make it dashed, and you can see now I have a dash table. There are different options. You start typing these and you'll see how they change. So for example, if I want this to be 5 pixel border, I can make it 5 pixel border. If I want 2, I can make it 2. You have those options available to you. Now, a couple other things to note about the table is that this affects everything. If I want to maybe just have the table and I want to set the width of that table, rather than applying the border style bit like I did before, I can say width, and I can say colon, I'm going to say like that's 75%. Right? And it'll set it to be 75%. If I want this to be 100, I can do 100%. All right, it's simple as that. I can use percentages. I can code in even hard pixel values. It's up to however I do it. Now I can also, of course, do things like the table height. I can set th table header, excuse me, not table height. I can set that to be, let's say, a height of, let's just do hard pixel value, let's do 35 pixels. Now, with this table right here, I forgot to put the height in front of it. There you go. On this table, you can see the table header now has a height of that. I can also, of course, do the same thing for like table down and stuff like that. All these things are possible. And these are nothing really new for commands that I really need to kind of go over with you. But I do want to go over, for example, let's do one for TD, which is alignment of content. So I'm just going to pop back over to source code real quick here, just so you can see how this works. And I'm just going to put in here, let's just do name, say age, and let's just say year. Okay, just some arbitrary values, and I'm going to make this Jim. Let's make him 55, and the year, let's say, is 2021. And let's do James. Let's do age of 46. And let's set the year for 2021 and let's do 13. 2103, excuse me. So just so we can see how these values get affected. And let's go back to our CSS. And what I want to do here is I can, of course, set a height again. And let's just set this one to be, let's do 30 pixels. I can do other things such as alignment. So if I type vertical dash align, I can choose how I want that to be aligned vertically. So if I say bottom, it's going to put it on the bottom of the cell. If I were to say vertical align, if I say top, it's going to do top. If I say any of these here, you can see I have a whole bunch of different options in here. Now for this one, I maybe want it to be middle. And maybe I want a horizontal. You can see though, if I start typing horizontal, there's none of that in there. It only has a vertical line. Because if I wanted to do a regular like horizontal alignment, well, that's just text dash align. So text dash align, center. All right. Simple as that. So let's just go back over here. I'm going to add one for our final CSS piece in here, since we do have something that's slightly different. All right. Remember, text dash align is done to align text horizontally, whereas we just notice here vertical dash align align text vertically. Okay. So there's that little bit. The other little piece I want to kind of talk about is things such as padding. Right? So we haven't really done much with padding, but let's go ahead and just add some padding in here. We have done a little bit with it. So if I say like padding and I set it to, let's say 5 pixels, it adds a border here, 5 pixel padding. Something simple as that to be really kind of put in there. Also, we have done things such as like height and width. As you notice here, we have height and width. We can set either with pixels or we can set that with a percentage. And we can do this with any element. And then margins, which we've talked about in the past. So I'm just going to really quickly come up here to my H1 element. So this is the heading. And I can do individual things there. So for example, I'm going to just do a background dash color. And I'm going to make this one aqua just so it stands out a little bit. All right, and if I want to, let's say, let's do a text dash align center so we can see this nice and easy. If I want to put this with a, let's do a CSS, or let's do a margin. All right, and what that does is it sets it so that way if there's an element next to it, kind of, remember it's space between elements. So I'm going to say margin is, let's say, 5 pixels. Okay. And padding is 5 pixels. Okay. Remember, this is the space between this element and the next element. If you notice, when I start adding the stuff in here, you can see how that changed my page. So when I did 5 pixels here, you can see how the page got updated. When I went and added the padding, it also changed the web page a little bit. Additionally, there's also this command, which I'm not going to require you to know, which is known as float. Now, what float does, it kind of will take this and push all the stuff up here. So if this is a heading, if I add the float command, it really kind of puts it on one page, side of the page or another. So I can say float center, which is kind of the default. I can say float right, and you can see how that really kind of gets put in there. This one I'm not going to require you to know if you're taking regular full web design as a class. Yes, you should know what float is, but for our purposes, you don't have to really know what float is. I just kind of wanted to show you that one to you so you can see how it really affects the other pieces. All right, and we've already defined margin and padding in the past, so I'm not going to add it to our notes. But this is going to kind of wrap us up here, folks. And that's really going to be it. So until next time.